Now, we're now live then. We're now live, and here's George Lees to introduce. So I'll pass it straight over to you from that point onwards, George.
Yeah, so this is Andy Devine and George Lees going to explain to the world why Cressida Dick resigned from the head of the Met Police, which she held for quite a long time. I can't remember how long was she in office, Andy?
I can find that out for you in 2 seconds. Let me just go to wiki.
Yeah, tell me.
So she was a senior British police officer, has been served as Commissioner of Police, the Metropolis, since 2017.
Wow, so that is...
It states here that she is both female and first openly homosexual officer to lead the Metropolitan Police Service.
Well, everybody's entitled to their own sexual habit, and I don't think she'll be doing that in the streets of London.
Yeah, it says she joined the Met Police in 1983. From 95 to 2000, she was a high-ranking officer for Thames Valley Police. After earning a master's degree in criminology, she returned to the Met in 2001 and subsequently held a senior role in the Forces Diversity Directorate and in anti-gang and anti-gun crime operations. In June 25, in 2009, she was promoted to the rank Assistant Commissioner. I'm just going to go through it now. Commissioner in late 2012, during the vacancy of the office, she oversaw the Met security preparations and security operations from 2012 London Olympics. 2015, accepted the role of Foreign Officer and returned in 2017 on being selected for Home Office and succeeded Bernard Hogan-Ho as MP Commissioner, becoming the first woman to hold this post.
So that is Hogan-Ho that we discussed in the last videos, and he's retired with a £5.5 million pension and a stable in the Alpine regions of Switzerland, where there are no tax problems, and that's why Prince Charles and Camilla have their companies in Switzerland called Dalek. All of it is the royal family scams. Do you want to introduce what happened today, or shall I try and explain why Cressida Dick, the head of that police organization, has resigned, and the stories that we've been telling in the last fortnight about Cressida Bonus, who is the lover of Prince Harry, and you informed me in the last few videos that she's now calling herself an actress, but she's in the spying team that is all up and down the cul-de-sac here, and that is them with MOD vehicles parked outside the house. Yeah, it's a massive scam, and the police are, as always, involved in it, and the people that are in the intel movements, that is MI6 and MI5, those are still, one of them, I think Andy has told me, has retired now, and that is, what was it? So Stella Rimington is still in office, but Manningham Buller has now resigned as head of, is she MI5, MI6, I think?
She, Elizabeth Manningham Buller, yeah, she was the Director General of MI5. I'll show you that screen now.
All right, so it's MI5. I thought that MI6 is usually the international spying requirements, and MI5 is the domestic ones. But basically what we've been doing for the last fortnight, so there's the picture of her. That could get us copyrighted, you see.
Got you. This is Wikipedia. So it's Elizabeth Lydia Manningham Buller, Baroness Manningham Buller.
I think when you looked at her profile earlier, you told me that she'd retired already.
Yeah,
she's had a long time in office.
Yeah, it says it is a retired British intelligence officer. She was Director General of MI5 Security Service from October the 2nd until her retirement in April 2007. She became a crossbench life peer in 2008. As of 25, she is listed as the 86th in Forbes, the list of 100's most powerful women.
Yeah, it's a massive position to be in. And she's been in the focus for all of us for a couple of decades now. But what's happened in recent days is that Prince Harry's lovers are now back in the stories, and that is Cressida Bonus, I believe, is the reason why Cressida Dick resigned today. Cressida Bonus was the lover of Prince Harry, and we've been reporting on that in the last 3 or 4 videos that have been made and published, and some of it is absolutely horrendous, which is why the powers that be that upload those photos and those videos. In the last one I made, I showed the massacre that occurred at Amritsar in India by the British troops, in a stadium that was filled with mums and dads and prams. Those are the people that were protesting so that they could have a civilized country in India. And that, remember, is Imran Khan's country. And Imran Khan is in the Chipping Norton set and is married to Jemima Goldsmith. That's the Goldsmiths that are the parents as bastards of Princess Diana. Yeah, Sir James Goldsmith, and that is Zach Goldsmith in Boris Johnson's Bullingdon Boys. Yeah, all of them on the take, by pretending that they are legal people, and that they're law enforcers. They are the culprits. Yeah. So Cressida Bonus dated Prince Harry, and we've got all the pictures in those earlier videos, but we can get some more if we want to. Let's see if I can get Cressida Bonus. So they are related to Lord Curzon, and he's now hinting that I might not live very long in the recent posts that I've seen on my computer. Yeah, that is the stories that I told you about Barry Clapham. Yeah, and that is the friend of Princess Anne, and he gave me Princess Anne's phone number. So that is the royal family. That is, I told you in the earlier videos this month that the royal family is completely illegitimate beyond the birth of Princess Anne. She is the only person that was sired by Prince Philip. All the others were sired by Lord Porchester and Lord Plunket. And Cressida has been used since the London police issues. What was it that Cressida Dick, who's the head of the London police, she was involved in the killing of a man called Menendez. Can you remind the audience of what happened there?
Yeah, Menendez was the CCTV footage of the 7/7 London bombing, and in fact, John Patterson actually gave the information. He forwarded that on to John Anthony Hill, more Dib, because he made that in the 7/7 Ripple Effect 3, where he showed that Cressida Dick was responsible for the cover-up of the murder and disposal of Menendez when he was shot 5 times in the head point blank when they grabbed him.
So there's a picture of Cressida Bonus, which could get the video blocked.
I'm not showing
and
it.
There is a picture of Prince Harry, who's a lover. And if we go to them together, let's see what they look like.
You're not showing those. We're not showing those ones. You're seeing those pictures with your camera. I'm not seeing.
All right, so that is a fail-safe mechanism. I didn't even think of it.
Yeah.
But thank you for reminding me that that is the best way to go.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that on my camera. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. And I thought that I'd convinced her to become a spy and to help me expose these things because she's walking up and down the cul-de-sac that I live in.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's now reported to be an actress, not just the lover of a royal family member. Yeah, so he and everybody younger than Princess Anne is a bastard of the family. And you know now that when Queenie realized that she had married a sexual deviant in the form of Prince Philip, she then changed to using her administrators, Plunkett and Porchester, both lords, yet in the political decision-making teams, and they are the parents of everybody that is younger than Anne.
Right.
Yeah, except for James Hewitt's love life with Diana. Yeah, and the other one is the scandal with King Juan Carlos.
For sure.
Yeah, and in my earlier videos, I've got the pictures of all of the royal families and the Dutch royal family. Sorry, so the scandals were that Prince Philip had killed tigers. All of that was published, and that is the death of Camilla's brother because he was the boss at the World Wildlife Fund. That is the World Wildlife Fund that killed the tiger that was shot by Prince Philip. Yeah, it's a total decimation of what the world used to call freedom. It does not exist any longer unless you're in the police, because she's free to screw off from today and leave Cressida Dick with the Cressida bonus, Prince Harry's lover, yeah, with the fallout from that. Yeah,
Wow.
that is Cressida Dick trained at the Dragon School with all of the super heroes. And if you can you read out the title of that from my YouTube channel?
Yeah, 1 second. I'll just share that there. Stop sharing. I'll share the video.
What does that mean?
So the video is called BBC Shin War Crimes, Bush, Southgate, Cressida Dick, Sting, Hugh, Lowry, Dragon, Jesus School, Hitchcock.
So that is the person that played Bertie Wooster in the comedy. Everybody remembers that. And Jeeves, I forget the name of the actor, but he's the one that was dead in the box when they showed the Longshanks film and the beheading of the Yorkshire person. That when Braveheart sacked York, that is how they got the head in the box. It was sent to Longshanks to show that Braveheart was winning at that stage. Yeah. and that is the actor that is he's Bertie Wooster, and I forget what the name of that actor is, but I'll just look it up now. He played the Duke of York in the sacking of York by Braveheart, and there is Bertie Wooster, and his real name is he style of Bertie Wooster. So I've searched for Bertie Wooster actor, and Hugh Laurie is his name. Yeah, that's the O'Learian families. Yeah, and that is the Duke of York, who got his head cut off by Braveheart in the movie. It was put on Longshanks's dinner table so that he could see that they had already gotten as far as Yorkshire and that is the Bertie Wooster comedy. That is the massive numbers of families that were drawn into fascism, yeah, because they think they can make a lot of money from killing their allies in the wars. And that is exactly what happens in those wars. So the most innocent woman in the story so far is Prince Harry's lover. And she is descended from the Curzon family. And I've made a video on them and that horrendous massacre in India. And YouTube tried to block it for a while, but blessedly, they've stepped backwards on that. And it's still on the internet. You've watched it, Andy?
No, not yet. No, no, not that one. The first one you used, the first one, the one you did. Actually, yes, I did. Yes, I did watch it. Yes.
So you saw the families with the prams, yeah, and the man on the loudspeaker. They did not even have an electrical system. There was no televisual stuff. I think it happened in the 30s before the war, and that is the Imran Khan eventually, out of the chipping Norton set, became the prime minister in India, and Lord Curzon is the person that descends to Cressida Bonus. Yeah, and that's why the Curzon family have started to give me hints that they want me in a cemetery. Yeah, that's Barry Clapham in Coldstream is a lookalike for Curzon, and that is what I published in midweek just a few days ago. And I've no longer seen Cressida Bonus in the cul-de-sac because they're caught with their, it's right in the middle of the act. And that is the MI5 and MI6 people are working in the local post office and in the various places, and that could get persons put in the asylum, which they've tried to do to me twice. Yeah, so that's why I take pictures of everything that I possibly can when you get the opportunity. And that is the teams that are trained in intel, like my wife. Yeah, and that is my wife who's paid a heavy toll for that. I don't know where she is, and I don't get to see her, nor do her children. Well, they are allowed to, but I'm not allowed to know where she is or whether or not she's still alive. It's absolutely sickening, and that is her training as a spy by those people that we've mentioned, Remington, and what is the second one?
Remington, yeah. I mean, you got Remington, which is, and the Manningham Buller.
Manningham Buller, yeah. And I think you said earlier that she had retired now.
Yeah, I believe they're both are, aren't they?
She's the one that had to stand up in front of the world's cameras and defend what happened in Iraq. And she's done a massively long period of time in charge of Intel, but Intel is just it's a massive set way of making the whole of the world's community a mafia operation. Yeah, it's everybody's snitching on everybody else, even their next door neighbors that are in the Hollywood movies and got the word MOD on their vehicles. So there is the Bertie Wooster character, and that is a massive secret society all across the world. And there's a video that I made on it. You just read out the title of it, and I had to make 2 videos because everybody that went to the dragon school, do you understand what the dragon is in the Bible?
You can explain it better than me, George.
So that's the baby Jesus. Yeah, and that is the reason that they have the climate issues is that the name for the baby Jesus was the same name as one of the weather storms in the massive global issues that have started all those landslides, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. And that is, what is the weather issue? So El Nino is the New World Order tell you that that is the weather storms that they're having to cope with. The real meaning of El Nino is the baby Jesus, and the dragon is the same.
Right.
Yeah, and that is the three wise men on Christmas Day in the morning, and it all fits together perfectly. The three wise men are Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even in James Blunt's songs, he's a treasonous spy, I'm led to believe. And that is why he he makes all of those videos with the secret societies in the darkened room. Look up Three Wise Men and James Blunt, and you'll see how intel decimates the entire world. Yeah, that's why James Blunt made the movies about Iraq and being there. And that is the dead man's boots. And every time you try and publish that, it gets banned for copyright reasons.
Is that
Yeah,
the song?
that is the name of his song was No Bravery, and all of the images on the videos that I've tried to make have been deleted for copyright reasons. And that then he changes his role in life and becomes involved in the Balkans, and that is the follow-up to the Iraqi oil spill. Yeah, and that is the Balkans, where thousands died in World War One, World War Two, and eventually in the steal for the oil from Iraq. They had to completely change the story, and every time you use the pictures of that, they were registered in some of those legendary money laundering addresses, yeah, that have been reported, even although that is the Rothschild family that ran it. None of the Rothschild family ever take the blame. And that is why all of these buffoons are prepared to take the blame, and they become legends in comedy. So when my Bertie Wooster movie and the profiling of the Dragon School that Cressida Dick, who resigned today, yeah, she's resigned because you and I have been talking about Cressida Bonus's role in Intel. Yeah, and then the story changed to her becoming an actress. All of the time that she's been involved is when we started to report that Cressida Bonus is the ancestor of the Curzon family that owned India when they massacred the people at Amritsar.
Oh.
Can you hear the wind howling outside? Yeah, those are the people that learn the real truths, and they never ever forget what happened. Yeah, so they've got Gatling guns, and they've got the man that played the Stammering King in the movie about killing people, 45 million in World War II and 80 million in World War One. Yeah, all of those are estimates. But now what we're going to talk about this evening is some of the stories that you had never heard the word. What was the genocide that we talked about in the Horn of Africa?
The Isaac genocide.
Yeah, so unluckily, it may be an accident or an error, but that is the genocide that happened in the Horn of Africa, and it is absolutely horrendous. Can you summarize what those 10 stories were?
Yeah, and it says well, so this is the 10 facts about the Isaac genocide.
And who published that? Just tell the readership, listeners, who the publishers were.
Of this is the Borgen project. Log latest news. That's who's created this.
So I found it in Wikipedia, but as you know, Wikipedia can the stories in that can be published by anyone in the community. You don't have to be political. You don't have to be elected. You can write what you like, and the editors of Wikipedia are chosen so that they can get a neutral result for that. And so what they've published in the name of Isaac is that that was a genocide, and it occurred in the 1990s. And you had not.
This says here the 10 facts of the Isaac genocide. So since its creation, Somalia.
So what was the date when it started?
It says in 1960, Somalia declared independence from Italy and Britain, who controlled different regions of modern Somalia territory. The Somali genocide started in 1969 when Said Barre, a military leader, overtook the government and led the nation into a partnership with the Soviet Union, declaring a country as socialist state. In 1978, the Somalian army attempts to invade Ogaden, a territory located in Ethiopia's border. Thanks to help of Cuba and the Soviet Union, Ethiopia soldiers were able to drive Somalian forces out of the region and strike different villages in Ogaden. Around 1 million people who lived in those villages had to flee Somalia's border, specifically women and children. The Somali government asked for support from the United States after socialist countries, Cuba and the USSR, provided military aid to Ethiopia. After the war with Ethiopia, Somalia was left with severe crisis and became divided by strong opposition groups. The groups were led by the Somalian Nation movement, which was established by Isaac clan of the northern regions. In consequence, Barre's government carried out aerial and artillery bombardment over 3 Isaac cities, Hargeisa, Bergborough, and Borough. Before the attack, yeah.
Keep going, Andy. Sorry.
Before the attack, Barre forced marches of Isaacs across the desert towards the Ethiopian border. In 1990, there were around 360,000 Somalian refugees in Ethiopia. After the incidents, thousands of Isaacs fled their homes in Samoa, leaving behind ghost cities. The Washington Post reported that around 50,000 Somalian citizens died during the war, a majority of whom were Isaac civilians. In 1988, the Somalian government signed a peace agreement with Ethiopia. In 1991, President Barre was forced into exile after Somalian Congress overthrew his military regime. Almost 27 years after the Isaac genocide event, Somalia still faces a violent crisis between different political and religious groups. Organizations like the United Nations are trying to stop the violence in the country and provide security for citizens. Dario Leaderson wrote it.
Right. So all of that has happened, and it was the late 1990s. Hello?
Yeah, can hear you.
So it was the late 1990s, I think you said.
Yeah. 1991, President Barre was forced into exile. But it basically, yeah, so
I think Ethiopia is the continental owners of Ethiopia is Germany. No, I've got that wrong. Sorry. That's the Horn of Africa. And I can't remember why, what the dynasty was that took over there. But this is the families that are involved in the story and the scandal about the word Cressida descend from Lord Curzon. Yeah, so if you look him up on Wikipedia, you'll find that they are the owners of colonial India. Yeah, and that is the family that are the parents and the grandparents and ancestors of Cressida Bonus, who is Prince Harry's lover, or was, before Ellie Goulding, and all of them then become pop singers. Yeah,
George Curzon, sorry.
Who? What was that?
Which Lord? Lord Curzon. Lord Curzon, you say? Is he?
Lord Curzon,
Yeah.
I believe, was a
First
massive
Marquis
landholder.
Curzon of Kedleston.
Yeah, and in the middle of those videos that we made on Cressida Bonus and Harry's love life, I made a video on the listeners should look up the massacre at Amritsar, and that is in India, in a square filled with mothers, babies, and prams, and they had Gatling guns to kill them, and their only way to safety was to drown themselves in the wells in the square. And that is the empire that is Britain. That is Imran Khan's role. Yeah, he's married to Jemima Goldsmith for a while, and then she marries the what was the name of the comedy with the beautiful actress from America? Goldsmith is now married to the actor that was the star in the movie about London, and what is the fabulous American actress that was in love with him? He's now the wife of Jemima Goldsmith. She's divorced Imran Khan as the Indian president. But the video that I made a couple of days ago has got the soundtrack from the massacre at Amritsar and the justification and the interviews that were made at the war crimes inquests by the colonial British serial killers. Yeah, they had massive Gatling guns, which had just been invented. And all of that was explained in that video by me, because those are the families that are off Cragside, and that is Northumberland, and the places where Sting makes his beautiful songs. Yeah, that is the Gatling gun and its invention in Newcastle. Yeah, and that's the colonial massacre in India, led by the Curzon family, that is Cressida Bonus. Yeah, so that is why Cressida Dick has been booted out of the Metropolitan Police today. What else do we want to learn about?
Yes.
Shall we stop there? Shall we stop there?
I think we've done enough, there, George. Yeah, because it's getting on there now. So yeah.
So that I don't need to publish that. I'll try and upload it. I doubt that will be publishable on my websites, but because we're now using that method on Facebook, and we've got several ways of presenting it, they would really be wasting their time if they tried to ban it.
Well, it's out there live. It's on Facebook. It'll also be up. I mean, because what I've recorded from that on my Zoom, so I've got it recorded anyway now. So that'll go up on Odyssey. So
can you remember what the title was for that dragon school? So Cressida Dick trained there. All of them realized that there was no Jesus, and that is the El Nino story. The rest of the work, did you get the significance of that?
Yes, Sean, I'm here.
This is the video that you're talking. The video in question was BBC Shin War Crimes, Bush, Southgate, Cressida Dick, Sting, Hugh Laurie, Dragon Jesus School, Hitchcock. That was the
But the one that I published myself, that in the middle of the ones that we've done together, that was done to cover the issues of the massive massacres at Amritsar. I don't think you were in that. I just did it myself.
Is it on
in
your
the morning
YouTube channel, George?
Yes, they tried to ban it. It did not appear for nearly 36 hours, but eventually they caved in, and it's published in full.
Was it 5 days ago? Was it 5 days ago you posted it? Yeah,
I think so. It's
Germany gets a new chancellor for Xmas.
You cannot miss it because I've got the soundtrack for the massacre at the beginning of the video. So you hear the Gatling guns, you see them driving into the massive place that was, it's like a massive square in one of their big cities. And I'm not sure where Amritsar is in India, but I've always been aware of it. And that is the British Empire. that we're so proud of, even in the Indy Jones movies. Yeah, and some of the characters in that are absolutely cynical. So when Indy Jones' lover in India was called, she was called something Scott.
Willie Scott. Can you guess what Willie is short for?
Cressida Dick. No, I don't know.
No.
No.
In the Indy Jones movies, when they've got the burning pits, it's the last series of movies that they made, and they're by then finding the Holy Grail somewhere in the Indian underworld.
But the name of the actress that is married to the Schindler director, what's the name of the director of those movies? Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's married to Willie Scott. What does Willie mean? Come on, you're a scholar.
You got me. You've got me because I've been focusing on something else here.
It's Wilhelmina.
Wilhelmina.
So that is Spielberg and his wife, and all of it is a massive joke. Yet even after the war dead are dead. Shall we stop there?
We'll end it on that one, George. All right, mate.
Let me just let the world see how many pictures there are of Cressida Bonus. Yeah, and she's got the capacity for greatness if she would tell the truth about the royal family and how they behave. But as you know, it's quite a wealthy position to become the queen or the king or even just the lover in the four-poster. Yeah. That's James Hewitt's role, and all of it is a massive, chaotic, corrupted, just an example of how they've behaved since the wars. And those wars include the ones in Korea and Vietnam. Yeah, and we've heard the stories about Queen Elizabeth I not signing the death certificate for the people that ran the wars. Yeah, and that is the name of the Korean family that was executed by the Queen. She sent him his death certificate instead of allowing him to partition his country between North Korea and South Korea. His name was Bose Hyon. Yeah, it's absolutely sordid, and that is how everyone is expected to behave in this country. Yeah. And I don't even know whether or not when Cressida Dick killed the man in that, was it a political activists rally?
Which one was that?
The killing of the person in the London story, that Cressida Dick, the police leader, who's resigned today, or I'm not sure what they've called it. Maybe a resignation, or it may be a retirement. Do you know what they've covered it as?
They've covered it as a resignation.
All right, yeah. And it's the same. The whole world should know now that there is a new German chancellor, that Miss Merkel resigned on Christmas Day or within hours of it. And she kept clinging to the title because she wanted to be the longest serving chancellor in Germany. But then you learn that she's already been replaced since Christmas. Yeah, within days of Christmas, and nobody reported that in the news for Europe elsewhere other than Germany. And that the new person, can you remember the name of the person that I profiled the other day?
Yeah, it's the Olaf Scholz.
Olaf, good lad, yeah.
Scholz.
Scholz, yeah. And in those videos, I've profiled the local aristocracy here have hotels called the Schloss, and that is where Adolf Hitler met for the secret meetings as they were discussing how they were going to get him out of the bunker. And all of that has been explained by our mates who are now in asylums. Shall we stop?
We can stop there. We have somebody here saying that death certificates weren't around in the early 1800s.
Death certificates for who?
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting his information from. But birth certificates came 1830s.
So I'm not sure where I mentioned death certificates or whether I did.
When you said about the death certificate was of Queen Elizabeth I.
Oh yeah, so that is the Korean story, and that was all published by Greg Hallett, and he sent me his indexes and the summary stories of it. So that's already on my internet collection.
Yeah, for sure.
But the thing that you need to learn is who goes to the Dragon School and why, and then look up the history in 2 or 3 videos that are on my YouTube channel, and you'll see that Worcester is a massive scam, that Jeeves is a massive scam, and that in those videos I've explained how do you understand why Mike Tyndall is married to Princess Anne's daughter?
No.
So the Tyndall Air Base was used to decimate the Twin Towers on 9/11. Should we stop on that?
We shall.
That's Mike Tyndall, the English rugby player. I'm stunned that you've not heard it. Yeah, that is the Tyndall that was in the second row for England when they won the World Cup in Australasia, and the Tyndall Air Base is just outside New York.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is the Twin Towers under decimation by the New World Order that is still in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all of their newsmen are led by a person called Rupert Murdoch, and until he passes on, the world cannot be free. I'm stunned that the gods have given him so long.
Yeah. What day was it? I mean, because obviously before Greg, what date was it? What year was it that obviously he disappeared before the clone took over?
So sorry, who disappeared?
Greg Hallett. Because
it's nothing to do with Greg Hallett. That's just my research.
No. I'm on about
Tyndall Air Base is not many people know about it, but Field McConnell does, and he's an airman. He's a double agent, and he's a relative of the Dukes of Wellington that I told you about the other day. That is the Saldanha families that were the allies in Portugal of the Duke of Wellington.
Yeah.
So
the reason I mentioned Greg Hallett is because people are coming on here to say that Greg Hallett's a fake, and we understand that Greg Hallett is. What we're saying is it isn't Greg Hallett anymore. The original Greg Hallett. Yeah.
Listen to the videos I made with Jim Fetzer, and he's right in the plot, right up to the time that you realise that he's in the Setzer bloodline at number 6 or 7 on Forbes.
Mm-hmm.
And he believed that Greg Hallett was topped, and he talked to him right up to that period. Every one of the images of Greg Hallett going to Downing Street with his letter to the Queen, he had to go to the back door of Downing Street and post it through there for some bizarre reason. He was escorted to that place by a threesome of armed police with machine guns. None of that is left on the internet. I've got it. Several others have got it. And when you tell them things like that, you are not able to survive because the royal family are totally murderous. And that has become a habit. Yeah?
For sure. The same.
Should we stop? On that note?
Okay, George?
Yeah. Cheers, Andy. Thanks ever so much.
Yeah. God bless you, George. And God bless everyone
Cheers.
else out there. Take care, mate. Keep shining, bud. Bye-bye now.
Well, Cressida's still next door. I'd love to be her friend rather
Well,
than
she
her
may
co-
come. She may come. You don't know. I mean, because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you can imagine that they've all been inbred. They've been brought into this, and I'm sure as hell they must want to get it out sooner or later.
Yeah.
One of them's going to.
Well, I met the man that looks like Lord Curzon in the photos, but they are descended from the legendary families that were Howers of Norfolk, and that is the beheading of Thomas Moore in those religious strifes. It brings tears to my eyes because those are my favourite movies, and that's why my wife from Chipping Norton, like Stella Rimington, used to take me to see the stage events of the beheading of Thomas Moore, because New Zealand's a poor place and they could not make movies there, but it was all Shakespearean actors and actresses, and that is the Chipping Norton set that my wife joined, and they, I believe, could have topped her too. I've not seen her since my children graduated from Dundee University at least 7 years ago. That's the last time I saw my wife.
Wow.
And she was trained in Chipping Norton in Sheffield, and that is Nick Clegg. That's where he was trained too. He's now the boss in the decision making about whether or not this video is publishable.
Because he's got Facebook. Exactly.
Cheers, Andy. Thanks for your help.
God bless you, George. Take care, mate.
Yeah.
Bye-bye now. Let me just stop that. Stop sharing. I'll just stop that recording. Where's the recording? Stop.